What do you get when you add an action game and give it puzzle-like elements? You get Metroid, an adventure game where you need to find new power-ups to progress further, and even progressing further means going back to old areas. Let's get this started. Metroid was developed by Nintendo's R&D1 for the Famicom Disk System. Because it was on a disk system, it was able to be saved and continued later, much like the screen from Zelda. Unfortunately, the US release would not be backed up by the ability to save, but there was a password instead. Launched for the US market in 1987, Metroid became part of the Adventure series of games with the silver boxes. Samus can shoot forward and up, but her functionality increases as she gains new abilities. B shoots, A jumps. Jumping in this game is a bit floaty. If you jump forward, you can perform a spin jump, but standing still will allow you to perform a normal jump. It is slightly easier to land on some ledges whenever you're doing a standard jump, but the spinning jump will give you a little bit of a slide when you land, because but you also jump way further. And it can knock you off of ledges sometimes. Samus does not actually have a duck, but the first augmentation you get is Morph Ball, which effectively ducks for you, but then you could roll around on the ground. Bombs. These are pretty essential. They allow you to go, you're shooting down with them. You can only drop them when you're in Morph Ball mode. Missiles. They're a strong shot with limited ammunition. Each missile container allows you to get a capacity of 5. There's also 3 different beams that Samus can shoot. It's the long beam, which will allow the beam to shoot all the way across the screen. And then there's the ice beam, which allows you to freeze your enemies. It can't be combined with the wave beam, which, for obvious reasons. The wave beam will shoot in a wave form, and it'll be about the size of Samus, so you could hit those enemies that are on the ground with a regular beam. There's also the screw attack, which allows the spinning jump to go right through enemies and hurt them, which is the most powerful attack in the game. An energy tank, which augments your life by 100 points, and of course the Varia suit, which allows you to take half damage. For a Nintendo game, this is a huge game with several distinct areas, and Nintendo had the forethought to give them all names. Brinstar, beginning area, they sort of just did their best to make it look like ruins of an ancient civilization through, it's a big stretch, but it has beams and then some rubble stuff, so, Norfair. Looks a bit more dangerous as we go into the depths. This area has some interesting things going on, obviously built by ancient beings, but also has some naturally formed dried bubbles. And this area is covered with harder forms of the creatures from Brinstar. Crad's High Out, or Crade, depending on how you feel about it. Built with what looks like a crumbling white stone, this area is the lair to one of the mini-bosses called Crade, or Crad, or however you want to say it. This place is littered with traps and breaking blocks, so be warned. Ridley's Hideout. This boss's lair is not deteriorating over time quite as much as you can see. And much of the architecture actually shines through pretty well here. Korean. This is the final area of the toughest of the creatures. This area is where it looks all well put together, almost like a lab, and, it's controlled by Mother Brain, so you'll encounter the worst enemies here. The game's namesake, Metroids. All in all, The game does have large environments and great explorability within levels. Unfortunately, once you are in the distinct area, many of the corridors look the same. They feel like they just cut and paste many of them, only showing the slight variation at the end, and this could lead you to losing your way and go down an unintended corridor. The silver lining to this, though, is that you learn the patterns of those corridors as you go, so you get hit less. Shout out to the gurus at R&D 1 as they managed to get a unique look for each of the areas. Even in Brinstar, they split the corridors up between the blue starter area and the gold, slightly more advanced areas. They have the same enemies, but they were kind of telling you that the golden areas were a little more difficult pathway to travel upon. The tiles they used for each area also varied, meaning that the game had a much better look compared to something like Super Mario Bros., for instance, where the ground tile is just 2 rows of the same tile and just a bunch of bricks. This game had varied items within those to kind of give you this feel of not everything is just one plain pattern. The technical prowess for actually getting smooth vertical and horizontal scrolling, pretty amazing, but it's kind of a trick because it only did horizontal or vertical, but not at the same time. Alright, the music was unique and heart-pounding for each area. Brinstar gave you that first rush of adventure, a nice uplifting melody, down into Norfair, where it was both peaceful and mocking at the same time, starting with the sound almost taunting you. Nee, ner, nee, ner, nee, ner. Then bursting into more of a melody, more of a serene kind of sound, with a little bit of discord built in, just showing you something's not quite right. Crade's Lair, however you want to say it, telling you that something is coming for you in the darkness, and yet there's a strange beauty to it. Consequently, my favorite song in the game. And then there's Ridley's Lair, proving to be an area of dark and sinister control. Its forlorn droning melodies speaking to the darkness and what lurks within it. And then there's Turian, where it should have been more of the same, but instead they played Ridley's Lair all over again. You probably want me to prove that statement, huh? Okay, here it goes. There are only 3 real bosses in this game, and the rest of the time you just play for prep work to get enough stuff to destroy them. Even though this game is open world, sort of, I think the original intent is for you to discover and destroy Kraid first, and I cannot fathom as to why you'd want to do that when I find Ridley to be the much easier boss. Ridley, his fireballs can, they kind of run in the same constant pattern, but every so often you'll find that they're a different pattern. Most of the time, they're going to be just like this, though. You can run in and start shooting him at his feet. You don't even get hurt. You just kill him off and keep moving. So that's why he's so easy. Kraid, on the other hand, is a little bit tougher. And I know the strategy is just maybe freeze his nails in the mid-spine and then pump him with missiles. But you know what? Why do strategy at all? When you could just get close enough to shoot past the spine and hit him while he gets hurt. Yes, you get hurt at the same time, but there's no need for fancy strats this way. Look how easy it is. Mother Brain. Okay. I have to admit that I have a strategy that boils down to don't fall into lava in front of her. You have to get through this entire room, so I'm going to count the entire room as a boss, where you have to destroy these walls and then get in to the next one, destroy the walls, get into the next one. The rings have a pattern somebody has detailed on the internet. I don't know this pattern. I know it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, in a ring shape as they fire. So that's great, but I don't know it. I don't know it well enough, and I don't really care to know it well enough, because I just know that the rings are going to appear, and I know how to dodge some of them, and enough of them, in fact, to kill Mother Brain. So, yeah. I've collected all my energy tanks. They were full enough at the time, so I run in here. I just pump Mother Brain full of missiles, and I take care not to fall into the lava in front of her. That would be a very bad thing if it happens. Falling backwards into that lava, not such a big deal. This time I didn't put tips and strategies or anything like tips and tricks into this, but if you want to learn the patterns and things going on in this particular room, you can do that by even putting in one of the two codes, Narpa Sword, NARPASSWORD, or Justin Bailey, and a bunch of like zeros or dashes, I can't remember which. Anyway, those both could help you go a long way to where you need to be on this, because with the Justin Bailey code, you are Zero Suit Samus, like second quest, with all the good stuff, except you have Wave Beam instead of Ice Beam, easily collected. And with Narpa Sword, or NAR password, North American release, I assume, password, your life never goes down below like 30 or whatever. You never die. So just keep running and gunning and figuring it out. A good way to train on these and try to figure out all the patterns. That's all I've got here. This first entry into the universe that spawned all of these games was an essential title. I never really played to the end of this game when I was a kid unless I was using the codes, but I did give myself the challenge to make it this time around. I do love the quirks that this game has, but I would rather play the more updated Metroid Zero Mission, which at least feels a little more like Super Metroid. It's still my favorite of the series. Even though you can play this one in the series replays, you really don't have to, and to get the whole story, you can really just skip this one and Metroid 2 and play their remakes instead. It's sad that it happened that way, but hey, we gotta make sure this one stays alive, at least in the archives of the NES. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please consider hitting the like button, subscribe to our channel to see more great videos, and if you want to support us in this extremely small channel, please consider becoming a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month. Stay up, stay safe, and game on.